Happy Sunday, everyone. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. Another Sunday, another show. I have here with my panel and my co-host, Coach 67 Sports TV, Mr. Southern, Mr. Jaguar, Southern Jaguars himself. How you doing, Coach?
All is well, bro. How y'all doing this blessed evening?
I'm
Doing
blessed. I
well,
can't
doing well.
complain. And I have here Mr. Brent Fox. Please tune into his YouTube channel. We have a 20 by 20 series. Um, uh, I enjoyed it. He's very knowledgeable. Please, he does boxing and football. He can do anything. How's everything going, Brent?
Oh man, let me start off by saying thank you, man. That's high praise. I appreciate that. And I'm actually doing well, man. Hopefully y'all are too. All y'all are too.
Yeah, we
All is
can't
well,
complain.
bro. All is well.
I'm still licking my wounds on Saturday night, but I'll be all right.
I think we all are, brother. That
Yeah,
was
bro.
very unexpected.
JB, what's going on with you, bro?
Same old, man.
I hear you. I hear you. But we're gonna start off the show by talking about some SWAC movement. Basically, it was a SWAC Media Day. Took off last week. So some coaches and a couple of players um, basically had interviews talking about how they think that their season going to go and their expectations. So if that's happening, college football is right around the corner. So I can't wait. I don't know about you, Coach.
Bro, I'm ready to rock and roll.
I hear you. I hear you. But I want to go over. I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna go over the 2023 SWAC football preseason team, and I'm gonna share my screen. Make sure it's the right one. All right, let me know if y'all can see it. Oh yeah, cause I got my banner blocking it. Hold on, y'all. Okay, there it is.
All right.
So for starters, we have Jeremy Musa as the Offensive Player of the Year for the preseason Offensive Player of the Year. And now originally it was going to be Shador Sanders, but we all know what happened to the Shador. He made the transfer to Colorado with Coach Prime, of course. But everybody's picking Jeremy Musa to be, if not basically the one of the best quarterbacks in the SWAC. What you think about that, Coach?
Well, I mean, I think that's pretty accurate. I think when it comes to the two best quarterbacks in the SWAC, I think it's kind of down to Jeremy Musa and Andrew Body. And I think the thing that separates Jeremy Musa from Andrew Body is the fact that Jeremy Musa has more weapons at his disposal than Andrew Body. Don't get me wrong. I think he's going to do, some good things in terms of Texas Southern's offense, but he don't have as many, toys to play with as Jeremy Musa does at FAMU, and the fact that, FAMU has a senior, experienced team coming back, juniors, seniors. And, it's not like J-State where they have just a bunch of talented players on paper that's transferred in. FAMU only has transfers at certain positions, but all those other positions, they have players that's been there. They have the chemistry, they have the continuity, barring injury. I think they're going to win the East, in my opinion,
I'm picking them to win the East as well, Coach. I want to do some shout outs in the chat. What's up, Brandon Brazell? Living big with Big Reg. What's going on, brother? Thank y'all for coming by. Thank you for the support.
Hey y'all, quick question.
Yes.
Did FAMU actually resolve that issue with a video?
Yeah, bro. We talked about it yesterday on Bayou Sports Talk.
Okay.
And one of the guys that I follow on Twitter, he has his own
Hmm.
YouTube channel. I think he a TSU fan, and basically he said that ban on all organized team activities for FAMU's football team. Uh, Basically, when Willie Simmons announced at SWAC Media Day that ban has been lifted and they back, the business as usual.
Okay, gotcha. And you can find out that information and more on Bayou Sports Talk, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All
Yes,
right,
that's
all
a
right. Shameless plug.
great plug, Brent. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Coach 67 Sports TV also has a show on his channel called Bayou Sports Talk. So if you live in the state of Louisiana or you a Louisiana sports fanatic, he's the man to go watch and see. So please subscribe and share. Now going back to the football preseason team. Um, for the defensive player for the preseason, they have Sundiata Anderson from Grambling State. What do you think about that? Him being chosen? And to be honest with you, defensively, I'm surprised that Grambling had a pass rush. So, or it was just me not watching Grambling on the defensive side of the ball that much last year. Do you agree with that assessment, Coach?
Oh no, he's a dog. But I thought it would have been the linebacker from FAMU. I think his name is Isaiah.
Isaiah Majors.
Yeah, I thought that's who it would have been. I mean, that's just my opinion. But I'm not gonna lie, old boy from GFC, he a dog. He a disruptor.
All right, that's why he's preseason defensive player of the year. Okay, all right. And then of course we're gonna do a quick rundown. Um, uh, of course we said quarterback Jeremy Musa, Florida A&M, and this is the All SWAC 13 on the offensive side of the ball. We have running back Jarvian Howard, Alcorn State, he's one of my favorite running backs to watch. Running back Donovan Eaglin from Alabama A&M, offensive lineman Jalen Goss from Florida A&M, old lineman Jonathan Williams from Alabama A&M, offensive lineman Will Reddy from Alcorn, Cameron Colvin from Florida A&M, offensive lineman T.J. Yarborough from Alcorn State, wide receiver Yamari Shareed from Florida A&M, wide receiver Derek Morton from Texas Southern, yeah, he beats, and tight end DJ Stevens from Jackson State. Yeah, I saw a lot of him last year.
Oh yeah, he was all over the place during the regular season last year, but he had a huge impact on the Celebration Bowl. To be truthful, the last play that the third string tight end dropped, really, I think that should have went to him. But I think the reason why they threw it to the third string tight end was because they used him as a decoy.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about it is the third string tight end, he dropped the touchdown that would have kept the game going, So
Yeah, exactly. And on social media, he was reminded of it consistently, repeatedly. That was messed up. But on the defense side of the ball, first team SWAC, Malachi Bailey, defensive lineman, Alcorn State. Gentleman, dude we just mentioned, Sundiata Anderson, Grambling State. From your Southern Jaguars, coach, Taj Brown.
yep, Todd Brown.
D lineman Zarion Hayes, I know about him. He was decent. Alabama A&M. Colton Adams from Alabama State. He's a thumper. Lewis Matthews from Grambling State. That man Isaiah Major, Florida A&M,
Yes,
coach this
sir.
region. Defensive back Amari Hill Robertson from Bethune Cookman. Uh, Defensive back Javon Morgan from Florida A&M. Defensive back Jordan Carter from Southern. Defensive back Kendall Bowler from Florida A&M. And then for a place kicker, Jonathan Griffin from Southern. Punter Jimmy Lees from Grambling State. Return specialist Darnell Dees from Bethune Cookman, and long snapper Jason Loncourt from Alcorn State. Okay. And then we're going to go to the second team All SWAC. Quarterback Andrew Body from Texas Southern. Running back Ja'Cory Howard from Texas Southern. Running back Ahmed Antoine from Prairie View A&M. O-lineman Eli Fields from Southern. O-lineman Arrington Taylor from Prairie View A&M. O-lineman Ryan Atkins Frazier from Arkansas Pine Bluff. O-lineman Robert Alston from Alabama State. O-lineman Midi Torrance from Texas Southern. And wide receiver Lyndon Rash from Grambling State. Wide receiver Markins Riley from Florida A&M. And tight end Kamari Young from Florida A&M. Okay. And on the defensive side of the ball for second team SWAC, it's Shakelby Givens from Southern, Michael Atkins from Texas Southern, Kendarius Clark from Arkansas Pine Bluff, Gentle Hunt from Florida A&M, Jalen Campbell from Southern, Rico Dozier from Arkansas Pine Bluff, Terrence Ellis from Alcorn State, Adrian Maddox from Alabama State, Callie Jackson from Alabama State, Kevin Thomas from Grambling State, and Kristen Davis from Southern. I remember seeing him. Place kicker Anthony Turnage from Mississippi Valley State. Punter Robert Bayou Plan from Southern. Return specialist is Chanzavea Lewis from Texas Southern. And long snapper Braxton Blackwell from Southern. So these are all the players that are being predicted to do damn well in the upcoming season. So y'all be on the lookout for them. SWAC football and football in general is upon us. I cannot wait. So, Coach, so out of the players that I just mentioned, so on the offensive side of the ball, which player is going to have a bigger impact for the team, for their team?
You cut out for a minute. Say that again, bro.
Okay, let me say it again. I'm sorry. So, for the on the offensive side of the ball, from the players I just mentioned, which offensive player is going to have a bigger impact for their team?
Well, I mean, I think the obvious answer is Jeremy Musa for FAMU, but outside of him, I would say Jerrion Howard at running back. Bro, that boy, he a man playing a man. Yeah, he a man against.
Yes.
He a man against boys. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, he is a beast. You know, he's a thumper. I mean, he got a good combination of decent speed and power. Bro, I'm not gonna lie. You know, when they came to A.W. Mumford Stadium, even though Southern won the game, I'm not gonna lie, they dominated the second half behind him as a runner. I mean, he did his thing, bro. I'm not even gonna lie on him, you know.
Yeah, he definitely did do his thing. Besides Chalk, he was one of the best running backs, in my opinion, in the SWAC. What's going on, Hendo? Part of the Head of the Road podcast. Y'all go ahead and subscribe to this brother. He has a very good channel, especially if you're a Baltimore Ravens fan. Brent, close your ears. Uh, Living with Big Reds. Y'all go ahead and go to that brother's channel, subscribe. And also Brandon Bazell. All these brothers are content creators, and they have very good channels and information. So please support. But to answer my own question, Coach, I'm gonna go and live out on a limb. I know the obvious answer was Jeremy Musa, but I'm gonna go ahead and pick. I'm gonna go ahead and pick Andrew Body. I believe that he's gonna have a big year.
I mean, I definitely could see that, bro. I mean, I'm looking forward to when he comes to AW Mumford Stadium because Southern has played them in Texas the last 2 years, and the last 2 years, they've got an upset over Southern. So it'll be interesting to see, what he does when he comes to AW Mumford Stadium this year.
Yes, yeah, I definitely believe Andrew Body, him, he will have a big year with Texas Southern Tigers. Now I'm gonna flip it on the defense side of the ball, Coach. Who you think on the defensive side of the ball, out of the defensive players we just went over for the preseason all SWAC team? Which one of them are going to have a bigger impact for their team?
Well, I think I kind of already tipped my hand with Isaiah Majors. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Him for FAMU. When Southern played FAMU, I mean, he was all over the field. He could rush the passer. He could kind of on that second level linebacker play like center field and play sideline to sideline. So he's very versatile and he has an excellent skill set. But I think again, just like Jeremy Moose, I think he's kind of an obvious answer. So I know some people are gonna be like, "Well, cool, that's a homer pick," but I'm gonna go with Tosh Brown for Southern. People don't realize he's Southern starting nose guard, and he was second team all SWAC last year on the defensive side of the ball. He's second team all SWAC defensive team. I think the thing, that I kind of highlighted a lot was, Jordan Lewis and Jason Dumas, they're garnering a lot of attention along that defensive line, but people don't realize the fact that it was more of a scheme switch where, Jordan Lewis went from like being like a hybrid defensive end / linebacker, kind of like in Brent Fox's Steelers system, where they run like a 3-4, and you have, a deep outside linebacker that could rush the passer and that could kind of drop in coverage. And he was kind of like a hybrid. But since he was such a good pass rusher, when Coach Dooley came in, it was a scheme change from a 3-4 / 3-3 stack to more of a 4-2-5. And I think offensive linemen in the SWAC this year, they were ready for him because they weren't caught off guard by him blitzing or him just rushing every now and again, as a defensive end with his hand in the dirt. They put his hand in the dirt and he was defensive end every play. And teams were able to better handle him. It's just like physically he just wasn't strong enough to deal with a lot of offensive offensive tackles in the SWAC. And whereas Jason Dumas, he garnered a lot of attention in terms of receiving a lot of double teams. So it left Taj Brown in the middle. He really controlled Southern defensive line. When he was out the game, it was a noticeable difference in terms of Southern being able to stop the run. Southern cannot stop the run without Taj Brown in the game. And the thing people don't realize, yesterday, my cousin Raymond, King Ray Swank, Ray Swank on YouTube, King Ray on Instagram, but he played high school football at Donaldsonville High School with Taj Brown. And Taj Brown was a middle linebacker back then. But when he went to the University of Houston, he played defensive end. But now that he's in the SWAC, he's grown physically over the years and he's gotten bigger. And he's a full-fledged nose guard in the SWAC at this point. So he's kind of grown into, from being a middle linebacker to that nose guard body. And that's why he was, such a force along Southern defensive line this year with the fact that, he used to be a middle linebacker in high school, but now he's a nose guard in the SWAC. So I think he's going to have a huge impact, barring that, he can stay healthy and he doesn't have any injuries. I think he's going to do big things along Southern's defensive line. And of course, they also have Kelby Givens, who had a big game in Southern's blue versus gold game. I think probably outside of Trey Lang, I think Kelby Givens from a pass rusher standpoint, even more so than Trey Lang, I think he had a huge blue versus gold spring game in terms of getting heat on the passer, rushing the passer, and also I don't know if he's going to end up starting, but Christian Zachary. He transferred from Liberty University. He was a 4-star, according to ESPN, and he transferred from Liberty to Southern. So more than likely, Kelby Givens is going to fill that void that Jordan Lewis left, and Christian Zachary more than likely probably is going to slot into where Jason Dumas was, and Taj Brown is going to fit back into his spot. So we'll see how things play out, but. I'm expecting big things from Southern University's front four this year, and I think Taj Brown is going to be a big, he's going to have a major impact on that.
You know what? I can understand why you pick him, even though he is a Southern Jaguar and you were a Southern Jaguar alumni. I can see why you picked him because of. Jordan Lewis is no longer there. Cameron Peterson is no longer there. So, and Taj Brown last year, I do remember him getting back there and terrorizing a lot of quarterbacks. So, I believe this is his year to eat, and also his versatility, where he can play not only nose guard, you can put him out on the end. So, I can definitely understand why.
Well, I mean, you got to realize Jason Dumas was the 3 technique. And he going in a lot of double teams.
And how can I forget about Jason Dumas? Jason Dumas is not there either. So this is Taj Brown year to eat, man.
And Taj Brown played a lot of one technique. So he was able to not be double teamed and just kind of eat up a lot of space in the middle.
Right.
As a run stopper. But if Christian Zachary could come from Liberty and have a major impact, he's probably more than likely going to probably fit right in the Jason Dumas spot, and Kelby Givens more than likely is going to probably slot right in the Jordan Lewis slot. So I don't know if they're going to have the same impact that Jason Dumas and Jordan Lewis had, but more than likely the way things look, like Taj Brown pretty much going to be in the same position he was. I'm not saying he can't be a 3 technique, but I kind of see him more as a run stop and 1 technique,
Yeah, I definitely hear you. And to answer my own question, Colton Adams from Alabama State is my pick. Even though he had pestering injuries, he has played good ball. So if he's healthy this upcoming season, I'm picking him to do the damn thing.
Oh yeah, bro.
At the linebacker position.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think him and Isaiah Majors, they kind of like 2 of the top tier linebackers in the SWAC. I think the only, I mean, they both excellent linebackers, but I think the thing with Majors is the fact that he has a little bit more versatility. He can kind of play sideline. He can blitz and he can rush the passer. So I think that's the reason why I think probably Majors is going to have the biggest impact from a linebacker standpoint in SWAC this year.
Yeah, I agree. And the reason why I ain't pick Isaiah Majors, I believe he
has
obvious
choice, huh?
Yeah, obvious choice, and I believe he has a lot of pieces around him to help him.
He definitely does.
And versus Colton Adams, he may have to, on the defense side of the ball, be everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I understand he's gonna have to get it out the mud on his own. Whereas, Isaiah Majors, he got a lot of savage pass rushers in front of him. So I agree with you on that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But I know you watched some of the interviews in the SWAC press. In SWAC media day. What caught your ear, or which coach, which player, which athletic director, whatever interview, which interview caught your ear during the SWAC media day?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I kind of agree with my cousin yesterday because episode 16 of Value Sports Talk. Basically, he was saying, whether it's SWAC Media Day or SEC Media Day or whatever, Conferences Media Day, it's kind of like par for the course, where you pretty much get the same old like rhetoric. Each time you have SWAC Media Day, basically it's about teams talking about their expectations and so on and so forth. So to be truthful, no team really caught my attention, but Mr. Neal, who has pretty much been a pioneer in terms of broadcasting HBCU games. He's been on BET for so long. I didn't even know some of the stuff he was talking about in terms of, at one point he was he was in radio and he was a disc jockey, and then eventually he transferred over to BET to calling, those HBCU games. And I'm not gonna lie, bro, like over the years, it just was a pleasure seeing him at SWAC Media Day, because I remember just over the years, so many of the games he's called, and a lot of those BET HBCU games, just the fact that I've just been a huge SWAC fan over the years. Southern wasn't even playing in a lot of those games, and then a lot of times BET didn't even run live games in terms of their broadcasts. So in many instances, like I will go like to a Southern game, the E.W. Mumford Stadium, and then at night I will come home and I'll watch the replay on BET. And just the fact that he's just kind of been a cornerstone for broadcasters in the HBCU space over the years. It just was a pleasure just listening to him and just him telling some of the stories, and just listening to him over the years. The SWAC Niet Challenge and the Circuit City Classic and all other classic games that used to come on BET. It just was just a pleasure just listening to him and just some of the stories he's told, and how it's a different day and age. How back then, it was so much more work, like being a broadcaster, in the 80s, even before that, trying to go to broadcast games and getting multiple forms of information from the information director at these different institutions. Whereas over the years it's progressed, like it's easier now. You could just go to the internet and pull up all kind of stats. Whereas in the past, you might have got multiple different stat sheets and you didn't know like what was the actual stats. So just listen to a pioneer like that. Many individuals will call them OGs. Just listening to a pioneer like that, it just was a blessing.
Yeah, with somebody like that, gracing their gracing the SWAC media, they get together with their president is definitely a treat. Because I remember watching those recorded HBCU games. Coming back from football practice, or or just flipping the channels to BET, and just watching a game. You know what I mean? That was cool, man. So I definitely understand. But I do want to talk about the commissioner of the SWAC, Charles McClellan. So basically, I don't know if you heard, but he did kind of stir up some little. He did stir up some social media for a little bit. Basically, he tried to. Basically, alluded to that the only reason why North Carolina Central won is because Jackson State had that drama go on with Coach Prime, and some of the players didn't play, or just all out drama going on, and it a lot of people had a lot to say on social media when he said it. So what do you think about that, Coach?
Bro, I'm gonna just keep it real. As a lifelong follower of SWAC, over the years I watched so many like Circuit City Classics, so many SWAC Niet Challenge games, and of course, in the HBCU realm, there's just a lot of classics in general. Whether we talking about the Bayou Classic, Just so many classics. So with that being said, bro, man, just keep it real. Lately, the MEAC has just been handing it to the SWAC. Yeah. And just to think, you no longer have North Carolina A&T in the MEAC. You no longer have Tennessee State, who's been out of the MEAC for years now. So you no longer have North Carolina A&T. You no longer have Tennessee State. And then FAMU and Bethune-Cookman, they've joined the SWAC. So just imagine if those teams were in a MEAC. And, even, back in the day, that was part of the reason why, it's a Celebration Bowl now. But back in the Gap, it was the Heritage Bowl. And the thing about it is, Southern and Grambling were like the only two teams out of all of the HBCUs that you knew they couldn't go to the 1AA playoffs when that time came around, because the fact that the Bayou Classic is on 1AA weekend, that's the weekend the 1AA playoff starts. So, in many instances, if Southern or Grambling won the SWAC, that would automatically disqualify any team from the SWAC going to the 1AA playoffs. And in some instances, like the MEAC would send two teams to the 1AA playoffs. And as a result, if Southern or Grambling won the Bayou Classic, if they won the SWAC, in many instances, whoever won the Bayou Classic would win the SWAC. The SWAC wouldn't be able to send a team to the 1AA playoffs, and the MEAC would get to send two teams, and as a result, Southern or Grambling would have to play like the third place team in the MEAC. And they got to a point where Coach Richardson, being a head coach for Southern, a couple of years where Southern won the SWAC, and of course, in those days they didn't have a SWAC championship game, but they would have to play like Howard or Hampton or Bethune-Cookman, and they would be like the third place team in the MEAC, and the top two teams from the MEAC went to the 1AA playoffs. Of course, they both got bounced in the first round in most instances. But the point I'm trying to make is, there were a time where even when the SWAC would send a top team and play against the third place team against the MEAC, in many instances, you might have played them early in the year in the SWAC MEAC challenge and beat them. But when it came to the Heritage Bowl, they would lose. So we at the point now where, I know you're the commissioner of the SWAC, blah, 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 blah. You have to sell the SWAC, as a product. And I understand that. But, bro, just be real. Whether it's the SWAC MEAC Challenge, whether it's the Celebration Bowl, the MEAC has been giving it to the SWAC. So, truthfully speaking, for the last 2 years on paper, the SWAC has been a favorite. But like JB said, on a show several months ago, until the SWAC actually beat the MEAC in the Celebration Bowl, bro, it's just rhetoric. So you can make all the excuses you want. At this point, the MEAC is the more physical conference. Bottom line and period.
I agree. And I think as far as roster spots, I think there's like teams like FAMU, even Jackson State, are a few roster spots away from competing, or they can compete, or I should say beat a MEAC, one of the top teams in MEAC play. But I think he did that to just try to stir up the competitiveness.
I understand what you're saying. Truthfully speaking, I think from top to bottom, I think the SWAC is a better conference than the MEAC. And I think if you put a bottom tier team from the SWAC against a bottom tier team from the MEAC, I think the SWAC wins. And I think, truthfully speaking, I think the last couple of years, I thought really J-State has been better than in North Carolina Central. I thought they were better than North Carolina A&T. I think they've been better than the top team in the MEAC. But if you can't prove it, on a big stage during a big day, it's kind of all for naught, So because at the end of the day, I could say, Jared, I'm better than you. Mm-hmm. But on the biggest stage possible, if you keep whooping me, then you better than me. Period.
No ifs, ands, or buts. Period. I agree. But I think Commissioner McClellan was just saying that he's just supporting his brand. His baby is the SWAC conference. So his SWAC. You know what I mean?
And like you said,
it is what it is. Go ahead.
Yeah, and like you said, to a certain degree, it's clickbait also.
Yeah, it is clickbait. But moving on to the next topic, football's almost here, y'all. As far as NFL football, I should say. So a lot of training camps have opened during the weekend. Brent Steelers, my Ravens, me and JB's Ravens, Coach's Saints, they all trying to practice their plays, get down the playbook. In 1 or 2 weeks, the roster is going to be down to a 53-man roster. So starting with Brent, um, and I know you're a Steelers fan, but how do you think, just using your team as an example, and I know you've been keeping tabs on your team, how is your team looking in your opinion, in your assessment, and what are your strengths right now, and what do you guys look like, what y'all need to work on?
Okay. I believe that at its core, we have a very talented team on both sides of the ball. Now, on the offensive side, of course, we're still very young, relatively, especially like in skill position. So I think that there has been enough of a continuity built up for us to actually take a big step forward. I think that if we score or maybe even average 20 points a game offensively, I think that we'll probably do well. I think the defense is still mostly intact. There are still going to be some questions in the secondary, even though we picked up Patrick Peterson and drafted Joey Porter Jr. Um, and I think our biggest question mark is going to be middle linebacker. Now, we did wind up signing Quan Alexander, which is very exciting. But,
Good pickup.
we've got, can you hear me?
I said good pickup. Well,
Oh,
not really, because
okay.
I'm y'all going against us, but in all reality, that was a good pickup.
Yeah, yeah, he's really gonna help us with coverage issues, and we got Cole Holcomb, of course, from Washington, and Landon Roberts from Miami. Those are both two guys that could actually stop the run relatively well. The pass coverage is questionable, but we got Quan Alexander to try to help out with that. If he stays healthy, then he could be a huge asset for us in the passing game. Now, the only thing that I'm actually worried about is special teams coverage and also return team, our return team status. We need a bona fide returner to give us good field position. That way, we can get our offense in good positions to where they don't have to make long sustained drives. Um, and then that way, it just kind of makes things easier for everybody. I think special teams is a very, very hugely undervalued team aspect. And I think if we're doing well with field position, that helps us offensively and defensively. Now, for an official prediction on the record, I think that we'll either go, I think 11-6 or possibly 10-7. Um, but it kind of depends on injuries and things of that nature. But yeah, I'm very optimistic about my Pittsburgh Steelers. I know that your Baltimore Ravens are going to push us, so I think that we'll probably wind up splitting with y'all this season, as opposed to sweeping y'all.
And
I hear you.
just to kind of add on to what Brother Brent Fox said about Kwan Alexander, is someone that follows LSU, as a mild LSU fan and as a Saints fan. Kwan Alexander is a very good underrated linebacker. He can rush the passer, he can blitz, he can drop into coverage. But like Brent Fox said, he's injury prone. I think the biggest concern with him is just keeping him healthy.
Yes, most definitely. Health is a big, big issue for him, and that's why he was available.
Okay, yeah, yeah, he definitely is an injury prone, but when healthy, he definitely is a um, Pro Bowl player. Um,
Y'all know I hate them two words when healthy.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. But Coach, let's go ahead and hear about your Saints. I know you have your ear to the ground when it comes to what's going on in training camp. Who's looking good? Who's looking not? I mean, who's not looking good? So, what is your assessment?
Well, I think the thing, with the Saints, well, first, the Saints signed Jimmy Graham back, for those people that were, huge Saints fans, like right around the time they made a Super Bowl run, but more so the following year and years after, up until the point he was traded to the Seattle Seahawks. Uh, Jimmy Graham was one of the most like lethal tight ends in the NFL. It was him and Rob Gronkowski. Some people had Gronk one, Graham two, Graham one, Gronk two. I think Graham was a better receiving tight end, whereas in terms of Gronk was more of the complete package in terms of, you could throw in the ball, he can block, he could do a variety of different things. Of course, the Saints traded him because, from a cap standpoint, they gave him a lot of money. They couldn't afford to keep him because they had so many weapons. But at this stage of Jimmy Graham's career, I hate to say it as a former Jimmy Graham fan, Jimmy Graham is done. So unless he's coming back to the Saints to retire as a Saint, or unless he's coming back to maybe mentor Jawan Johnson and Foster Moreau, I don't see Jimmy Graham making the team. But in terms of the Saints overall, it seems like our friend Mr. Carr, who I wasn't high on, I really didn't feel like he's a franchise quarterback. And, initially I didn't think he warranted the kind of money that he's been paid. It seems as if him and, injury prone, this Mr. $100 million Michael Thomas, it seems as if, they've developed a great deal of chemistry. I think as a Saints fan, I think the biggest issue is the fact that, they've lost so many starters on the defensive side of the ball. Of course, they didn't lose him this year, but, they could no longer afford to keep K'Wan Alexander. Now, that's how he ended up getting away going to the Jets. They lost Trey Hendrickson, who ended up going to the Cincinnati Bengals a couple of years ago also. But we knew he was going to get away already. So that's why they were counting on Davenport. And the crazy thing about it is Davenport is gone. They drafted instead of getting y'all franchise quarterback Lamar Jackson, the Saints moved up, and we all thought they were going to get Lamar Jackson, kind of be the heir apparent through getting Marcus Davenport. When he was healthy, he was that guy. But just like K'Wan Alexander, Marcus Davenport was often injury prone, and they needed a defensive player. Kind of hindsight is 2020. I knew at the time they needed a defensive end, but I'd have much rather prefer they took Lamar Jackson. But even with that being said, they lost Marcus Davenport this offseason. They lost Shai Tuttle, David Ayumata. That's three of your starters on your defensive line right there alone. So I think the defense is going to be a major concern. But even with that being said, just looking at highlights of, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in minicamp with their quarterback struggles. The Carolina Panthers are going to have a rookie quarterback. The Falcons, I'm not moved with their situation. I think the Saints should definitely win the NFC South. I think since their division is so weak, I think just by default alone, unless, they drastically underachieve or they have a great deal of injuries like they did this past season, I see the Saints winning division. And I think just by default alone, the Saints, you have a lot of teams in the NFC that just kind of falling off. I think they're a Super Bowl contender. But, I still think the clear-cut front runner to win the NFC is the Philadelphia Eagles. And just kind of be truthful, you and I have talked about this behind the scenes, more than anything when it comes to training camp and preseason, to me, it's just a necessary evil. I'm just ready to get to the regular season and just get it, get the season kicked off.
Okay, all right. I definitely agree. I'm ready for the season to start, and also your division is looking quite weak, but y'all should at least try to make some noise and be on top of that division. Y'all should, but we have to see it. Um, JB representing our Baltimore Ravens. What you think about um what you've heard and seen in our training camp so far, day one of the training camp?
Man, I'm trying not to get my hopes up, man, but I'm excited, bro. Lamar looks good. Um, don't just watching Lamar on 7-on-7 and then 11-on-11. He still got that chemistry with Mark Andrews, and then him and OBJ gonna be crazy, especially on outside the numbers. OBJ still got that quickness to separate from DBs, and then we got Zay Flowers, and then we got most of the receivers we got last year with Duvernay. Crochet ain't gonna make it, but we got Dig Nelson Aguilar. He gonna be the third and fourth. So Lamar gonna have better weapons like he did last year. The O line you can't tell because the O line they didn't have pads on, so everybody was freaking out about the O line. But I know a smart person, we not gonna go 100% because nobody's trying to get hurt. So I'm not worried about the O line. The defense look explosive though, but again, they didn't have pads on, so we don't know if they're for real or not. So the DBs they look good. They flying around. Geno Stone looks good. Rocky Senior looks good. Marlon Humphreys looks like what he usually looks like. He's solid. So and then Marcus Williams, the former Saint, he looks good as usual. So I'm just excited. I can't wait for this football season start. I think Lamar is gonna put up numbers statistic wise as far as passing. I can't say how our defense is gonna look. I think our defense is gonna be good as usual. Don't know. I think we need to go get, especially in the pass rusher. I think we need to go and sign a veteran pass rusher. We in rumors. I'm hearing rumors where we're trying to trade for Chase Young. I don't know about that. He's injury prone, but I'm not gonna be mad at it. So.
And I'm gonna add my assessment that we need to add a few more pieces to the wide receiver room. I know we got ODP, Zay Flowers, and Rashad Bateman, but I think we probably need one or two more pieces as far as in the wide receiver room to make us a legit or a feared passing threat. That's my opinion.
I think we straight, bro.
I hear you, but the Baltimore Ravens, it can't be enough. You can't. You need an extra wide receiver or two just in case. A solid one with us, man, because you never know. You never know.
Well.
But okay, brothers. All right, everybody excited about their team, and Brent. I know Darnell. I'm here. Darnell Washington, that 6'7" tight end y'all draft from Georgia, is tearing up stuff in training camp. So I'm definitely gonna be fearing him in the red zone.
I want to say publicly, I did some spying on the Saints and Pittsburgh. They both trash.
Oh, you hilarious.
No, I was just playing, bro. Y'all, I mean, I don't even know, man. I like David Carr. I think David Carr is a solid quarterback. I would rather have him than Kirk Cousins. I know that. I think he just
You
was.
mean Derek Carr? You said David Carr.
Well, yeah, that's the one that got drafted the Houston
Yeah, David the one that got.
Texans
Yeah,
when they first got into the league, and then he got sacked 50 million times. So yeah, Derek Carr. I like Derek Carr. Everybody gives him a hard time, but I think, like I said, I'd rather have him than Kirk Cousins. You know what I'm saying? And then he was in Oakland or in LA. As they now are the LA Raiders.
No,
So
Las Vegas. Las
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 Vegas.
Vegas.
Vegas, I forgot. Yeah, Las Vegas. That's the Chargers that went to LA.
Yeah.
See, I get confused. But yeah, Las Vegas. So I mean, that franchise is snake bitten. They can't do right even if they try. So don't be surprised, Saints fans, if Derek Carr start showing out, especially with the receivers you got. The Saints always get good receivers. So you know, and then as far as the Steelers, like I said, as long as Mike Tomlin is the head coach of the Steelers, they're gonna find ways to win games.
Yep.
It don't matter if they got a high school player at quarterback. They're gonna find a way under Mike Tomlin to win games.
Sorry to say that's true. I'm gonna do some shout outs in the chat. Jay Barr, he said salute to the chat and outstanding panel. Appreciate you for your coming by. And Big Joe Townsend, salute to the family. Thank you for the support, brother. We got enough people to play spades in here, but it's okay. I'm still thankful. Y'all still like and subscribe, y'all. Okay, all right. But I'm hearing the Hall of Fame game is next week or this week coming up. Was it? Is it Wednesday? Hold on.
I would imagine if it is any day, it'd probably be Thursday, wouldn't it? Or maybe even Hall of Fame game. Yeah,
Yeah, August 3rd. Yeah,
I think
it's Thursday. Yeah, you're right.
yeah, it's Thursday.
For who?
Because
Cleveland Browns and New York Jets playing.
That's right. They would be the first. That's the first preseason game, I guess.
Yeah, technically.
oh, the vomits and the S stains. Okay.
Right. See two trash teams coming. I don't give a damn if Aaron Rodgers is their quarterback. I don't trust the Jets, and the Browns can't do right, even if they tried. They said that the Browns is under the Art Modell curse.
They might be with all the
Bad decisions. Yeah.
Man. But y'all, I can't. You know, we normally a football channel, like I always say, but we cannot avoid what happened last night. I am not only am I a big football fan, I am a boxer fan as well. And Errol Spence Jr. is one of my favorite fighters from Texas, and I also admire Terrence Crawford. And yesterday, both of them clashed to see who's the undisputed welterweight at 147 pounds, my undisputed king. And Terrence Crawford put on a fish fry. Now, the reason why I say he put on the fish fry, Errol Spence said he was going to be the big fish. And Bud Crawford said, okay, you the big fish. Well, I'm going to take you out the water, out the water. I'm going to fillet you and fry you. And I'll be damned if that's what happened last night. It was an absolute drubbing. Errol Spence looked like he was he had the power of a damn light heavyweight. The punches Errol Spence threw did not hurt Bud at all. But that jab was very strong. It was like a telephone pole jab that hurt Spence every time he touched him. I mean, it was a master class put
Ass
on
whooping.
by ass whooping, and it was a amazing performance put on by Terrence Crawford. So shout out to Terrence Crawford. Congratulations. He said he made history. Mayweather didn't even do this in the welterweight division. So he's up there with as far as one of the best. He's a legend. Errol Spence is still a Hall of Fame fighter in my opinion, but he's just a great fighter. He versus Crawford, who put on a legendary performance. I think Stormy B-Man said it better than I could this morning. The difference between Bud Crawford and Errol Spence, you can put Bud in any era. 90s, 70s, damn near even the 50s and the 60s. And he'll still do what he do. But you put Errol, he may have a little bit of difficulty. Not saying he will win some fights, won't win some fights, but he'll probably have trouble with some of the greats in different areas, and the same results may happen. But I say all that to say this. I'm going to ask you guys on the panel, what was your opinion? What did you see Errol could have done better? And what did you think of the fight? Starting with Coach.
Bro, well, first and foremost, for those individuals that saw Bayou Sports Talk yesterday, 7-8 pointed this out. Many individuals, for my boxing fans, of course, salute to the brother Joe Townsend. But, Tuesday, Monster Inoue, he had an impressive performance against Cool Boy Steph. And many people were saying that despite what happened last night, that Monster Inoue was number one on the pound-for-pound list, which, on my show, I pretty much talked about my case for why that's not the case, because, you'll always have individuals that always try to put a non-black boxer as number one on the pound-for-pound list, whether that's, Monster Inoue, whether that's Vasil High-Tech Lomachenko, who had less than 10 fights and one unavenged loss on his record, Roma Chocolatito Gonzalez. They always try to put a non-black boxer number one on the pound-for-pound list. And I said yesterday on my show that whoever won that fight last night was number one, and that's what I feel, first of all. And then second of all, I made an emphasis that, as boxing fans, we always crying for the best to fight the best. So I wanted individuals, instead of streaming the fight, purchase the fight, which I did myself. But with that being said, in terms of the actual fight itself, leading up to the fight, EJ said it was going to be a one-sided ass whooping. And it was, but he didn't say he was going to be on the receiving end of that one-sided ass whooping. And that's pretty much what it was.
Exactly.
And I'm not going to lie, I can admit when I'm wrong. I thought EJ was going to be able to, get in there, do his Texas lean, lean on Crawford, go to the body, use a lot of dirty boxing tactics that, he used in terms of going to the body, just being aggressive, shouldering people, shouldering Bud, that type of thing. But, like you said, so eloquently, Jared, bro, there's nothing that EJ did that Crawford didn't have an answer for. And Bud, he put on a masterclass performance. In terms of the fight itself, I scored the first round 10-10. It was an even round. I really couldn't find it to give to either fighter. But, Once Crawford knocked Spence down with that hard jab in the second round, as a counter punch, it was like from that point forward, everything just kind of went downhill for Spence. And bro, he had no answers. And I'm gonna be truthful, he said he's gonna run it back, but truthfully speaking, I don't see any real adjustments he can make because, yesterday I talked about this on Bayou Sports Talk. For all of these Bud fans that out here, saying, hey, we told you. Don't get me wrong. It's y'all moment to gloat and y'all all right. But could nobody predict that the fight was going to turn out the way it did in terms of, just being just a one-sided fight? Bro, Bud dominated EJ, and it wasn't close at no point. So, props to Terrence Bud Crawford. He's definitely, it ain't even in question. Monster Inoue, he's not even in my top 10 pound for pound. That's just my personal opinion. But truthfully speaking, Bud is number one pound for pound. He put on a masterclass performance. I know EJ said he wants to run it back. The first thing he needs to do is, I don't know what happened between him and Blue Ray from, the way he said it, that basically, his trainer didn't want him, I guess lifting heavy weights or whatever he was doing. First thing he needs to do is go find Blue Ray, and he need to get back with Blue Ray. He need to keep his nutritionist, and if he could, get the rematch at 154. But even with that being said, I don't see anything he can do in terms of making adjustments. I mean, I knew Bud was a better athlete. I knew he was an excellent counterpunch. He was highly skilled, but I think, the performance he put on, I'm gonna be honest with you. This was some legendary stuff last night. And like 7-8 said in his post-fight reaction, bro, I'm not gonna lie, that version of Crawford last night, I would favor him over even the pretty boy Floyd version of Floyd Mayweather Jr.
I agree.
Bro, it's that was a masterclass performance last night, and pretty much that's all I have to say on the topic, and hats off, and I'm still man down, so I'm still gonna rock with EJ.
Yeah, we all. This is not meant to the fish fries.
But
not meant to the mock.
No. I'm not saying that. The reason
no. I'm talking about me. I'm confirming what you're saying. My title is not meant to mock that warrior Spence. It's just to big ups Terrence. He said it was gonna be a fish fry, and it was. But go ahead, Coach.
And bro, the thing about it is, you got to give EJ credit. Stuff wasn't going on with. He never stopped trying. He never gave up. He went out on his shield. He really, and it was so telling. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like towards the end of the fight, I don't know if y'all noticed this, but if Bud would have really went in for the kill, bro, I think he could have savagely hurt EJ. But it seemed like he was just kind of holding back, and then when the opening presented itself, he just kind of closed the show. But I think he kind of was holding back at the end. So, like I said earlier this week, and like I said on Bayou Sports Talk yesterday, I'm still rocking with EJ. No, first I'm still rocking with Cool Boy Steph. I still support Cool Boy. I'm still rocking with him. I'm still rocking with EJ. They're still my guys. I'm still gonna support them. But much credit to Bud, and have some legendary type stuff. And I'm gonna be truthful. Like 7-8 was saying, I mean, I'll take this version of Bud. I'll take him over. I'll take him over Jamel Charlo. I'll even take him over Canelo, to be real. I mean, I don't know if he would be able to put on the weight to get up to super middleweight, but I would favor him I'll favor him over either one of those two fighters.
I agree, Brother Brent. What's your assessment, sir?
My assessment is similar to Coach's. I think that unfortunately last night's performance just shows a huge separation between Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence, and more importantly is Terrence Crawford and everybody else. I do not think that even Boots Enos, as versatile as he is, would be able to keep up with Terrence Crawford. I think just on a mental level, he'll probably beat Boots Ennis. So that's not a good fight for Boots right now. I know that he's hungry and I know that he really wants it, but I don't think it's a good idea for him to get in there with Crawford right now. Um, the other thing was I discussed the rematch on my show. It's just me. But what I was alluding to was Earl's going to have to rebuild after this. This was a very devastating loss. And in order to try to realistically overcome something that traumatic, you're going to have to rebuild, which means that yes, you go over to 154, but you do it the right way. And this is just my opinion. Excuse me. Let me just open up with that. This is just my opinion and an evaluation on the situation. Um, I would say that you fight good but not great competition. You get at least 2 fights in, 2 to 3 fights, okay, to where you can actually build a separate game plan and adjustment back up to where you're able to have a better chance against Terrence Crawford. If you run it back immediately at 154, the result is going to be much worse. And as I was stating on my show earlier, at that point, if Earl Spence somehow runs it back to 154 and he fights Terrence Crawford immediately again, I think the very best thing to do, and I know this sounds very cruel, the very best thing that you could do for Earl Spence is knock him out early. You get him out of there as fast as you can. You do not want Earl Spence to sustain another beating, because if he sustains another beating for that length of time, then it's detrimental to his career. So the best thing that Terrence Crawford could do if they wind up doing a rematch immediately is just get Earl Spence out of there quickly.
I hate to say it, but I'm gonna have to agree with you. I don't think he can. Of course, I'm not. Who am I to tell that warrior not to go for the rematch? You know what I mean? He can do what he wants, but um,
Yeah, and you can kind of hear the pain in my voice having to say something like that, because I've actually watched Earl Spence closely and followed his career closely, and he represents a whole lot of ideals for us down here in Dallas. But to kind of see your hero get beat down like that, it's man, it's traumatic. But I don't think that it's a very good idea for him to just try to jump back in there. I've seen this too many times. Roy Jones tried to do it with Antonio Tarver, and he was never the same after that.
no.
But yeah, that's what I basically have on the Spence situation. There are some major adjustments he needs to be able to make, and that is basically improved upper body movement. He's going to have to somehow be able to time faster fighters. He's going to have to learn how to parry punches, which is a lost art. I think that if he has the ability to parry punches and anticipate punches, that could help him. But because he's he's obviously slower than Crawford, but it's going to take a lot of rebuilding in order for him to even be competitive right now with Crawford.
I definitely hear you.
And just to kind of add a little commentary on to what Brother Brent just said, I think it kind of resembles, Roy Jones Jr. lost against Antonio Tarver, when he fought for the second time, a little bit. But I think the thing that kind of hurt Roy Jones Jr. was the fact that, he went up to heavyweight and he came back down to light heavyweight. And I'm gonna be truthful, I don't think, him going up to heavyweight to fight Ruiz and then coming back down to light heavyweight, I don't think he was ever the same after that, So, I can kind of see the similarities, but, there's a lot of differences in those two scenarios also, whereas last night, I'm not going to even lie, it just was a savage beat,
There's definitely it definitely was a savage beat. It was hard to watch, but we're not gonna act like us, especially us being in LDBC. We didn't have brothers try to warn us this may happen. The late um, Kurt Sugar, rest in peace. Him and Scrapbook and Stormy with the three wise men of boxing. They in the past they tried to warn us as far as the style matchup and others. But us supporters of um, but not Bud, but Errol Spence attempted. We basically just attempted to try to support our boy. Um, don't get me wrong. I know I can speak for everybody on the panel. We did not ignore the talent of Bud Crawford. We just didn't. We just didn't want to see that, but it happened. It happened, and Crawford, who he says he is, and he's on top of the world right now in boxing, in my opinion. So uh, Monster, Anui, or uh, even the heavyweight Tyson Fury. Right now, Terrence Crawford is the best boxer in boxing right now. Period. JB, what is your opinion on the fight?
Short, sweet, and simple. He got mugged and looked like he was looking for some help. Um, Looked like he was stronger. Um, Looks like that. I ain't gonna hold you. I don't think, and this is gonna be my point. Next when there's talk saying can he win the rematch? I don't think Earl was in the right frame of mind when he fought Terrence Crawford, and that's not saying the diminish what Terrence did. What Terrence did was phenomenal. I don't. What I'm saying is, I don't think Earl. I think he took him seriously, but I didn't think he believed some of the stuff that Terrence Crawford could do. Um, he surprised him, and he walked in the ring, and brother Southside um, alluded to that earlier on 78 Sports Live earlier today, saying that I think he was saying that everybody um, was talking Earl up on YouTube, and I think Earl was listening to that, and he thought he was, better than what he was, and he didn't step into this fight with a right frame of mind. He thought he was just gonna walk through Earl, and
Walk
I
through
like
Terrence.
walk through Terrence, and I think that Terrence studied Earl for years. And like Blake Fight Fans was stated on his live that he turned that jab right into a weapon, and everything he did was to knock Earl Spence off rhythm. Every time Earl tried to get on the inside, they hit him with something. So this is to my next point. I'm gonna disagree with my brother Brent Fox. I do want to see a rematch. If Earl get with the right people, I'm not gonna say the right strength and condition coach, get in the right frame of mind, I think that fight will be more competitive. And who knows? This is boxing. You know, maybe even beat him. You see what I'm saying? I don't know why people don't take in consideration like this happens in sports. The brother on 78 Live alluded to it. We see this in fighting sports all the time. Didn't Israel get his ass whooped by that that Latino dude 3 times, and on the fourth time he beat him? this is where styles make fights. The only thing is, can Earl make the adjustments? Can Earl make? It's up to Earl to make the adjustments. You see what I'm saying? So I don't want Earl to think, oh, he's too good. I'm not going to. I can't beat him. No, you get in your lab. If you're gonna fight him, if you're gonna take the rematch, take it seriously. Don't do no half step and no bullshit. Get with Blu-ray or whoever you need to get. Snack. Do the right strength and conditioning that you need to get prepared. Because I don't think you were ready for what Terrence Crawford had for you. I think you thought in your mind, based on what everybody was saying, that you were gonna walk through him. And I thought I think Earl really thought that he was stronger than him. Most people thought Earl was stronger than Terrence. But one thing that me, my brother, and even our pop said before the fight, Terrence Crawford got a wrestling background. So he's gonna have a strong core. So he's not just gonna move Terrence everywhere. Because Terrence is trained to have a strong core. Strong core and strong base. So I think with the correct strength and conditioning, he can win. But not with that bullshit he did last night. That's where I will agree with Brent Fox. If he do that bullshit he did last night, he get stopped again. And maybe even worse.
Anybody agree with him?
I strongly disagree.
I mean, for the most part. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no. You go, brother Brent.
For the most part, JB, I do agree with you. Now, the only thing that we'll probably see differently is that maybe Earl half-stepped it in training. There's a guy that is in Earl's camp that goes to the gym that I go to.
Right.
Earl was actually watching Terrence Crawford intently for a while, and he's known for like his legendary work ethic in the gym when he's training for these fights. I think that we don't need to diminish what Terrence Crawford actually did. He took a primed and ready Earl Spence and dismantled him.
No, what I'm saying,
I think that he just needs to make adjustments,
right,
to his fighting style in order to have a chance to win.
That's what I'm saying. One thing I'm gonna explain to you what I mean when I say that. What I'm saying, right? My pops, right, is a Marine. He's a devil dog, right? And before the fight, he used to tell me that the conditioning in the military now is different from when he used to do it. And he watched Terrence Crawford do heels. He said, "Oh, that boy doing heels. He's going to have a strong core. He's going to be ready to go rounds, right?" And compared to Earl Spence, and that's not saying that Earl Spence, right, was not ready or not conditioned. I'm saying he's in the mindset, right, that he was stronger, that he was just going to walk through him. He didn't do the correct thing defensively. He didn't have the right game plan. It was just a mismatch. That's all because of what Terrence did. I'm saying kind of like the Lennox Lewis Rahman fight, right? Some of the stuff Lennox Lewis did to get knocked out in that first fight, he corrected it in the second fight, he
didn't take Rahman seriously in the first fight, though.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. I'm taking into consideration that Earl Spence now know that fat meets the greedy. Terrence can hurt you. Terrence does hit hard. Terrence is strong. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not like Brent perfectly said. This is not to diminish what Terrence did. I'm saying in the second fight, I want to see.
Yeah.
I want to see. Now that you know this dude is for real, you know what I'm saying? You need to step your game up, and I know he can do it. You know what I'm saying? I've watched. I'm a fan of him. I know. I think he just went in that fight, didn't do the correct thing, and I don't think he was mentally prepared as far as what he needed to do. You see what I'm saying? So
And it's your
Okay, I
opinion.
appreciate you clearing that up. Thank you, sir.
no problem.
But I'm gonna strongly disagree. Uh, you know, I understand that many individuals, in the boxing game, we know that, styles make fights. I can admit that I was wrong because I thought he was going to be able to physically impose his will on
Right.
Bud. But truthfully speaking, I mean, last night, he hit Terrence Crawford was hitting him so much harder than Spence was hitting him. And
Right.
I mean, he, and even when he did get inside, he was throwing a looping overhand left, Bud just put his glove up and block it. And if he didn't, he hit him with a couple times, and Bud wasn't phased. And even when he did get inside, and he tried to, get into his Texas lean and start digging to the body a little bit, I mean, he wasn't affecting Bud at all. But every time Bud hit him, after maybe about that second round, third round on, he was seriously hurting Spence. And even when Spence really kind of was getting to a point where he'd get in a little groove, Terrence hit him with that hard right jab. So, I mean, Bud did an excellent job in terms of his counter punching. When he led, he did an excellent job. So, he was faster in terms of beating him to the punch, in terms of hand speed. So, on a variety of different levels, he beat Spence, and he just dominated him across the board. So, the point I'm trying to make, JB, is from a strategic standpoint and stylistically, I don't see anything he really could do that would give him a better outcome if they did fight a rematch immediately. I mean, that's just my opinion,
And you know what? You guys made a great point. Maybe you guys are right. Maybe there's nothing, he can do. And I'll just put it to you like this, right? A lot of people said the same thing, right? To Deontay Wilder in the second fight. But didn't Deontay Wilder in the third fight almost knock Fury out again?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I think you kind of
now, second fight we know Fury cheated. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying, right? Based on what Deontay Wilder was up against, right? I'm saying in boxing and without cheating in boxing, we seen different outcomes in fight where a dude won a fight, become champion, rematch the dude, and lose. So, with that being said, I just want Earl. If Earl gonna take the rematch, I want him to, cause to me in the fight he was lunging a lot, he was reaching a lot. You see what I'm saying? It's like he wasn't prepared for the speed of Terrence Crawford. You see what I'm saying? And he wasn't defensively sound as I usually see him. And to what many brothers and you guys on this panel has said, maybe that's because Terrence is really that good. But you know what I'm saying? I'm like what Black Fight fans said. You gotta show me again. We gonna run that back. And then if you get me another time, then the hell with it. So I don't know if that's my mindset. And I'm thinking that's Earl mindset. And if that's not, if he wants to rematch and go to 150, what is it, 54?
Yeah, 154.
Then, and then like Brent said, he might get a worse ass whooping. I might come back on the show and be like, oh, you guys was right. That was an ass whooping right there. He might not want to take that fight, but this is why they make the millions of dollars and we don't, because they take those chances. And I love Earl for that.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but in terms of like the Wilder analogy, in my personal opinion, I thought he was cheating in all three fights because there was glove manipulation in the first fight. They out cheated him in the second fight, and in terms of the extended count in both the first fight with Fury and the third fight, Fury got the benefit of elongated counts. I feel like Wilder won both the first fight and the third fight. That's just my opinion.
And I agree.
But in terms of like the adjustments, like I said, I mean, no excuses I'm not accepting the excuses, and I'm not gonna lie, easier than making excuses. So
Right.
some people saying that he might not have took the fight as seriously as he should have. Other people saying that it probably would have benefited him to have a tune-up. But when he beat up Danny Garcia, he didn't have no tune-up for that fight.
Right.
So and people might be saying, hey, he might have struggled to make 147, and maybe it's time for him to move up to junior middleweight. But he been a welterweight all these years, and he didn't have any trouble. I'm not saying he didn't have any trouble making weight, but he's been making weight. So to me, it's no real excuse. But the point I'm trying to make overall, based on what I saw last night, I don't see any real adjustments he can make that will win him a rematch. But you're right from the standpoint of if he has the right mindset, like, hey, you got to show me. And I think one thing, like, he kind of underestimated. I think part of the reason why he lunged and reached so much is the fact that, like you were saying, Crawford had that, a considerable hand speed advantage. But, I think Crawford was longer than he thought. Because I'm not going to lie, there were certain points when he would try to close the distance, against other competitors. He would easily close that distance. But against Bud, I know he only had a 2-inch reach advantage. The same reach advantage Ugas had against him. But, bro, it was just a whole nother level, And it's like he just tried to stick to what he know. Like, hey, I've done this in the past and it worked. I'm going to just kind of go back to it. Bro, he had no answers for what Bud was giving last night. And I don't really see any real adjustments he can make. I'm not saying it's impossible, but in my mind, it's just extremely highly unlikely,
I feel you. I'm just saying that if there was a rematch, I'm not mad at it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, no, I agree. I mean, if I was EJ, that would be my mindset. Hey, let's run it back and let's see if I change some stuff up, is the result going to be the same? And you're right, JB, the result is the same. And hey, tip my hat to you. But I think to a certain degree, Brent did make a valid point. If he takes another savage whooping like he did last night, bro, that could pretty much end his career,
Man, but I understand what you're saying, JB. You're not really trying to make an excuse for him. If he is gonna take that second fight, his ass better be prepared.
That's all I'm saying. Like Brent and what Brent and Coach is saying, most likely is correct. I'm just saying, like, if he's gonna do this rematch, he better do his homework. That's all I'm saying. He better come ready to fight. Cause Brent made a good point. I would imagine at a heavier weight, there's probably more power. You know what I'm saying, for Bud. So I don't know. I can't wait. I'm glad. I'm kind of glad that this fight is over, so there won't be no arguments now. The best man won.
Yes, sir. At this point in time, Bud made it perfectly clear who the best actually was.
Period.
Fact.
And I don't see Tim Tszyu beating him if he go up to 154. I don't see. I don't see Boots Ennis. I don't see Jermell Charlo. Right now, Crawford walked through all of them, in my opinion.
I would even venture to say he walks through Canelo too, if you ask me.
I'll buy it. I'll definitely buy that.
I don't think nobody should fight Canelo cheating ass, because he's already got an unfair advantage.
I mean,
well, unfortunately, he one of the ones where the money at, so you got to see him.
Yeah, and truthfully speaking, just to kind of add on what Brent said, honestly, I think Bud walks through Jermell, but I think Jermell beats Canelo. So
Jermell with the correct mind frame, yes, but with his brother and stuff getting slapped and everything, they got a lot of stuff going on.
Well, I mean, it's clear and transparent that Jamal has some serious mental health issues, you know, but not touching on that. The way Jamel was talking in terms of, him preparing for Canelo, he's right from the standpoint of Tim Zoo still has more to prove, in my opinion. But in terms of Jamel and Canelo, I think he beats Canelo, in my personal opinion.
No, I agree.
I agree.
I think he washes Canelo. It's gonna be a slow roasting though. Canelo gonna do what he do. It gonna be competitive. Then later on in the late rounds, he gonna start picking Canelo off. It's gonna be like what Mayweather did, but I think uh, Terrence gonna do it better because he got power. But gentlemen, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. The show up, man. It's been a wild weekend, man. We've been anticipating this fight date, and it had gone and passed. And man, I'm still shocked about it. But hey, you don't know what's going to happen until you go through it. And we have a conclusion. Terrence Crawford is the best fighter in boxing right now. Period. Um. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. Um. Brother Brent, please shout out your platform and where people can meet you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. My small platform is called It's Just Me, hosted by Brent Fox, where I discuss basically boxing and football. And if there are any other topics that come up to mind, I also discuss those as well. But usually I put content out on Thursday nights.
All right, yes indeed. Code 67 Sports TV, Mr. HBCO, BCU, aka Mr. Southern Jaguar. What's going on?
Well, you can find me at Coach 67 Sports TV on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, and you can also catch me here on YouTube at Coach 67 Sports TV. On Saturdays at 2 p.m. usually. We have our weekly show with myself, my sister, usually two of my male cousins, called Bayou Sports Talk. Yesterday was episode 16. Next Saturday will be episode 17. And usually I drop, videos throughout the course of the week. SWAC, but in particular Southern University. I did also do a video of the Spence versus Crawford fight, but more than likely, I'm probably gonna try to steer away from the boxing because, all of views coming from Southern University and HBCU football, so I think that's gonna kind of be my lane from this point forward. But probably on Bayou Sports Talk, we're gonna have our post-fight reaction to this fight and to the Monster Inoue fight. But that's where you can catch me at Coach 67 Sports TV on all those platforms, but primarily here on YouTube and every week Bayou Sports Talk, Saturday at 2 p.m.
All right, and JB, thank you for joining us as well. But again, you brothers, I want to thank y'all so much. Y'all probably could have done something else, but y'all was able to take your time and join me on my show. So I appreciate y'all. Y'all please like and subscribe. Just don't stare at me. Just don't ear hustle. Please like and support the channel. I'm trying at least to get to at least 200 at least by the end of this year. God willing. So I gotta put the extra work in and put more content out. But I'm got some stuff planned, so y'all stay tuned. But other than that, again, shout out to the mighty LDBC. Y'all have enjoy y'all Sunday. Y'all have a blessed day. Y'all be blessed.
Salute.
Y'all be easy.